I wanna close my eyes and go back, play it in my mind. A movie of us two, yeah, we were happy at the time. Can't remember what it felt like. We used to be so strong. That picture perfect sky now, it looks so gray and cold. We've been laying here since 4 a.m. and you haven't said a word to me. Silent treatment, is this what it feels like when your heart is aching, when it bleeds? If it's over, just say it out loud. Say those words, go ahead, just shout it out. Just be honest, be a man right now. Say it's over, if it's over. Do you remember when we went to Paris in July? Got stuck out in the rain, but we danced around and didn't mind it. So young and reckless, baby, you and I fit just like a glove, but I guess that's over now. We've been laying here since 4 a.m. and you haven't said a word to me. Silent treatment, is this what it feels like when your heart is aching, when it bleeds? If it's over, just say it out loud. Say those words, go ahead, just shout it out. Just be honest, be a man right now. Say it's over, if it's over. If it's over, just say it out loud. Say those words, go ahead, just shout it out. Just be honest, be a man right now. Say it's over, if it's over. We've been laying here since 4 a.m. Silent treatment, is this what it feels like? If it's over, just say it out loud. Say those words, go ahead, just shout it out. Just be honest, be a man right now. Say it's over, if it's over. Wish that I could stay. Wish for this moment to never go away. But it's all in my mind. And though I know that there is nothing to find, you're a beautiful sight in the summer night. And you can't put up a fight in the misty light.
Hello, and welcome, everyone. Glad to have you here. So excited to be back to do another live streaming show. I've been working so hard in the background trying to get everything exactly the way it needs to be. Adjust the keys on the stream deck and get everything all set up to try and get this thing to be as flawless as possible. So, we'll see how everything goes today. But how are all you wonderful people out there? Simpson JFS 2324, Homer Simpson, Dusty Country Road, The Vaping Heed, Mrs. Hunky Vape. I truly appreciate all of you guys coming out here to the live show today. So looking forward to this. I've got so much lined up for today. Got a set of batteries over here that I've been putting into this little rinky-dink mod that we opened up, and the bottom of the battery wrap has ripped itself off. So perfect opportunity for us to do a battery rewrapping session to show you how simple it really is to change the battery wraps and keep your batteries safe for use at all times. I've also, I've also got a recipe that I mixed up last night. I was on Wendy Vape's live streaming episode last night and mixed up a random recipe. I didn't have all the flavoring ingredients that they have. They've been doing this for over a decade. And let me tell you, there's no comparison between the couple hundred the flavoring ingredients I have here and the thousands of ingredients that they have. However, I was able to take what they had and adapt it using the flavors that I have here. And it's not going to be an exact match because from one manufacturer to another, the flavors are completely different sometimes. Yeah, if it's a custard, it's going to be a custard. But that custard reacts differently with some of the fruits and some of the other flavoring ingredients that are out there. So when you get a recipe, it's not a one-for-one replacement. But you can make something that tastes in the same profile as what you were going for. And I was impressed because I would have never thought to mix all these creams and custards with blue raspberry flavor. Maybe it's because blue raspberry isn't a real fruit. It's an artificially made up flavor profile. But it turned out really good. And I put it in my tank last night. And actually, the stock coil I put in my Marvos, this one was shorted. So I had to go and put it into my Arbiter. But let me tell you, that flavor was one of those ones when I first vaped it, I'm like, okay, well, there's a cream and there's a custard in here, so it's going to take a little while for this to develop. But the more I vaped on it, the more I was like, man, is this thing delicious. The only thing that was missing that I kind of missed when I was converting the recipe over to the ingredients that I had was just a little bit of cooling sensation, because it's supposed to be a milkshake. So I'll show you guys that recipe today. We're going to mix up a bigger bottle of it because, well, I did this last night, 9 o'clock, and you can tell half the bottle's already gone. But it is a delicious recipe. And such an unusual combination. Milkshake and blue raspberry. Hey, you never know what you can come up with sometimes. So, that's going to be on the agenda today. We're going to do our random recipe mixing. I've also picked out the Geek Vape Loop. We're going to make a set of coils for it, get that set up, and throw it on, make some random recipes to put on it, just have a good time overall. But before we get too excited and all the fun stuff, I do want to talk about some news. News and advocacy is always, high on my list. And I know a lot of the fans don't like it sometimes, but if you don't know what's going on around you, how can you react and prepare for what's coming ahead? So that's what we're going to take a look at first. Let's jump ourselves over. And here is the current situation right now. And I'm just going to abruptly stop the music, even though it's way in the background because this is a newsy bit. I probably should have some newsy music to go along with it, but that's for another day. The electronic cigarettes have entered a new era. The national standard is officially implemented and fruit-flavored bans have come into full force. The supervision took full effect October 1st. What's this mean? Well, we have a completely changing situation in China for vaping in general, for everyone in China. And everybody's like, I know, it's just China. What do we care about China? Well, you know what? This is going to be a very clear indication of what happens if a country decides to clamp down like Australia did. And we're going to finish off with that as a prime example of what not to do. But the reality is, we're past October 1st. And guess what? It's full force in China. Their shelves are now bare because, as we all know, very few people go straight for tobacco flavors and stick with it. Everybody ends up transitioning to something other than tobacco when they realize they're not smoking anymore. Dual users may be a different story. But it's the flavors that keep me away from cigarettes. And I bet it's the flavors that keep you away from cigarettes too. That's why most of the shops, have 98% of their products are all fruit and custards and desserts and any flavor besides tobacco. Well, not in China. You're only allowed tobacco flavor, and you have to have that product come from an authorized device. And unlike here in the United States, where the FDA only gave big tobacco the licenses, in China, they've given out licenses to anybody that followed the paperwork and filled out the forms and submitted all the stuff that they need to have to get a license. But that still doesn't change the situation. Look at that. Nothing on the shelf. What are they going to do? If they were an advanced vapor and they're using products and rebuildables, what are they going to do? They don't have a choice but to DIY their own liquids. Can't go to the store and pick up the stuff because open tank systems are also gone. No open tank systems have been approved. Only closed systems that are filled with authorized flavors. That's a rude awakening. And I had somebody leave me a comment, and they were in California. And they says, oh, we don't have any problem getting vapes. We're going to be fine. There's nothing to worry about. I don't know why you keep talking about all this stuff. Just because you don't know what the laws are and you don't know that the FDA hasn't clamped down on anything doesn't mean that that's not going to become a reality at some point in the future. Yeah, realistically, the FDA is incapable of going after everyone and walking into every location across the country. But this is not what I want the shelves in my local vape shop to start looking like. And if the FDA decides to clamp down one day, that's exactly what's going to happen. Most of them are going to close because you can't survive on it, especially considering you can walk into a gas station and pick up an authorized product by the FDA. So anyway, just want to let you guys know that this stuff is going on around the world and things are changing around us. Just because it doesn't directly affect us yet doesn't mean it's not going to in the future. Believe me, there were 250,000 vape retailers in China. So far, only about 56,000 of them have been authorized to continue selling products under this new managed system. Don't think that's not going to affect how often we get new products out here. But here we have somebody, never fails, despite snitches getting stitches. Somebody decided, oh, I see flavors on that floor over there. I'm turning you in. You know, there was a box sitting on the floor, and it was a box of the fruit-flavored vapes, but they were all empty boxes that the store owner didn't have time to get out of the store because obviously they were going to keep selling whatever they could until the midnight deadline. And it was just a box of empty boxes. So they got a warning, but you're not allowed to sell anything except for authorized stuff. And it doesn't just affect them in the stores. This new regulations also mean that they now have a vape mail ban just like what we have here. It's not as severe as ours. Technically, you're not supposed to ship anything vape related in the United States. In China, they have limitations on what each person can order. This is all trying to keep it out of the kids' hands. So you're only allowed 2 kits. And you're allowed 6 cartridges for your 2 kits. And that's it. So this is to prevent you and me from going out and buying a bunch of stuff and selling to our friends. Being a store that doesn't pay taxes and being under the radar. And it's starting to affect legit store owners that didn't get authorized yet or didn't bother to file the paperwork for it. So they're going to be closing up soon because they can't get their stuff. Does Prohibition work? Of course not. And Australia is the prime example. Australia's e-cigarette ban has been a complete failure. Youth vaping still going at it. And 88% of the people in Australia buy their vaping products through the illegal black market. Does it mean that it's a tainted product made by some closet manufacturer? No. They could be legit products that are legit legal for sale in the UK and other countries around the world. But in Australia, it's considered a black market item because the product contains nicotine. And in Australia, the people have to get a prescription for nicotine and they have to compound their own prescription into their vaping liquids. It's a disaster. And it's total proof that Prohibition doesn't work. And now they're all up in arms going, well, what are we going to do? We need to crack down on this illegal vape. Well, you already essentially banned it. What are you going to do next? How are you going to ban something that's already been banned? Makes no sense whatsoever. William Dobson, hello and welcome. So that wraps up the news. Didn't mean to get all up in arms about this, but it's a realism that, you know, we're all going to eventually have to face. If things don't change, we don't get more people active and complaining to their politicians about what's going on around them, and all of a sudden the United States decides they're going to clamp down because, well, the FDA has complete and supreme authority over any product that contains nicotine from any source, whether it be real or artificial. And then what are we going to be left to do? Buy this stuff that they authorized for sale that doesn't work for those of us needing open tank systems and big clouds? What are we going to do? That's why we DIY. So let me hop over, take a look at our chat, change the transition back to where we need to. How is everybody doing out there? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Albert Patrick Garcia, hello and welcome, sir. Watching from the Philippines, welcome. Last week, you guys were talking about Snickers flavors and stuff. My wife got me some Snickers creamer for my coffee. First time I tried it, I was like, you know what? This isn't that great. It's just coffee and Snickers. I don't know. Just wasn't my cup of tea, but I ran out of the French vanilla. And my wife and I are going to be celebrating our 4-year anniversary tomorrow. So we're going up to camp, get away from all the hustle and bustle of city life, get away from work, and just go enjoy time out in the woods together. We love camping. We don't get to do it often enough, but you know what? That's all a part of life. What do you guys do for recreation and fun? Drop in chat. Let me know what you guys are doing. One Shot flavor Snickers. Awesome. Yeah, I do remember now. Forgive me. Alzheimer's kicks in and can't remember what you did 5 minutes ago, and sometimes you can't remember what you did last week. But then you can remember exactly what you did when you were in high school. Doesn't make any sense. The joys of getting older. One other thing that I do need to mention. I feel so bad about this. Let me jump over to the front screen. Oh, my goodness. Last week, I got my first super chat. And I was so grateful to my wife for sending me that sticker and to Mallory Gates. And I have code running in the background that keeps track of everything that goes on. Free Ride Vapor, I want to thank you for that. And I thanked all these people. But what I didn't do was I didn't thank Mark Robinson for his super chat, his $10 super chat last week. I am so sorry. I missed it. I've got everything automated, right? And it's supposed to be printed out on this printer. Well, when he sent his super chat in, what? Oh my goodness. $50. Just want to let you know how proud I am of you. I cannot wait to get away this weekend. I love you, baby doll. Thank you so much. And my printer still didn't print. So I still got work to do. However, this lovely message on the screen did show up, so I am no longer going to miss them ever again. Well, how about we jump overhead? Yeah, I do know. I'm paying for that super chat. Actually, that super chat, you wouldn't be surprised what percentage of that actually goes to YouTube for allowing you guys to send super chats and messages and stickers to us. I don't know, 45, 55%, something like that. It's outrageous. But they built the platform and we just are creators on their platform. So what are you going to do? But the printer didn't print. And the message didn't show up on there either. But it did alert properly. So I'm getting there. And I did implement a log to keep track of it. So little by little, I will get this figured out. There's so many tools for Twitch users and Twitch streamers out there, but not for us on YouTube. So anyway, how about let's jump overhead. I'm going to show you these batteries and let you know if your batteries have this issue. Well, guess what you need to do? This battery is definitely in need of having its wrap replaced. The nicks over here on the side, the bottom ripped off. And for those of you that have never done this before, I'm going to show you how easy it actually is. Let me get my phone out of here. I was negligent. I always miss something. Let me turn off the alerts. All right, there we go. So all you got to do to get a new wrap put on here is obviously you got to start off by taking off the old one. As a safety measure, if you have anything metal on you like this that may conduct electricity, take and get rid of that. Move all the metal stuff out of the way. Because if this thing rolls, you don't want it to short circuit on the battery end. And this is just shrink wrap plastic on the end of this. And on this end is an actual insulator. This goes on the end of your battery, and it creates an additional layer of insulation between the center terminal and the outer terminal. So there is a naked battery. Throw a towel down because it's not conductive. While we have it out, I'm going to prep this other one. Now, if you've got a battery like this one, it's got some nicks and dings in it. This one's probably should have already been replaced, but I've been careful with it and taking it easy. Make sure that you use non-conductive, like these ceramic tweezers. You can pick these up on Amazon. They're used in electronics. You just peel it off. And there we have our naked battery. Nice. That's fantastic. These are essentially plastic, and you could very easily, clean these things off and reuse them. But for the actual cost, this is like $2-3, and you just get a whole bunch. This is going to last me the rest of my life. No question about it. And I like these ones because they are already stickered on the back. Pop off the superfluous piece. Put this on the end of your battery. Line it up with the edge of the battery. Try and get it nice and centered in there. Push it down. We'll do the same thing on the other one. Just like that. So I love those stickies. Now the old ones that we got out, there's literally nothing wrong with these ones. So I'm going to toss them into the baggie. Another opportunity for my wife to say I'm hoarding stuff I don't need to hoard. There's some crap stuff out there, and there's some decent stuff out there. And when you get a nice thick one, like they came on these original Samsung 25Rs, definitely worth tossing those for later. And you can pick this thing up like this. This thing was like $10, and you have a complete assortment of different colors that you can go. You can have clear wraps if you want clear ones. Any color you choose. A while back, got a set of these battery wraps. This one came from Gas City Mods in Canada when I placed an order from them. So I'm going to use these ones today. If you have a heat gun, that's the ideal tool to use. However, this can be done with a hairdryer. But you literally just pop this open. Easier said than done when you're live streaming. you slide your battery in there. Try and make it about even. These things are cut to length. If you have the same dimensions on one side as you do on the other, this thing's going to come out great. We'll prep the other one. And it's so easy. To restore the safety of your batteries. Just like that. Grab your heat gun. That's why heat gun's so nice, because it's so hot that it does it like almost immediately. See? And that's done. It's really that simple. Battery safety is always a fundamental thing to know. And if your OCD is killing you, you could always take this one off, put a new one on, and get it to working so that you know it's perfect. But for all essential purposes, that's done. Now I can throw them in the charger. Not have to worry about them being an issue. Something you should always be concerned about is battery safety. Because if these things go, I'm sure that you've seen the videos out there on YouTube and elsewhere. They can go into a thermal runaway, and that's where you get the explosions. Throw me in your pocket with change and keys. Bad idea. Always have a battery case for you to put your batteries in case something happens. Just throw it in your car door and have one in your glove box. Have it ready to go at all times. All right. Jump back over to chat. See what you guys are talking about over there. Which you can get replacements. William Dobson stated. What are we talking about there? I missed something. William Dobson says he has 2 toddlers and doesn't have time to have fun. Listen, when you have 2 toddlers, you need to find the time when they're sleeping to go and have some fun. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Make sure that there's no dents, dings inside the actual battery. If it is, it's time to recycle that battery. And here in the United States, we can take it to Home Depot and Lowe's. They recycle batteries. And they do it for the power tools, but there's no reason why you can't also do it for vape batteries. Lithium ion is lithium ion batteries, regardless of what size and form factor it comes in. Homer Simpson uses a torch. Well, that's possible. You just got to be really careful. And yes, you can use a hairdryer as well. Awesome. Thank you, Kenny. Very much appreciate that. I need to lock in this camera. That is very distracting. There. All righty. That is still Mallory Gates pecan pie. I've been vaping on that. Almost halfway through this bottle. I already made another bottle. Such a simple recipe. You get your pecan, your butter pecan, and you get your crust, and it just like a pecan pie. I mean, pecan pie, despite what it looks like, is actually a very simple flavor. The only thing that's kind of missing, I think, is a little bit of that stickiness that you get from the center part of the pecan pie. And I suppose that the pecan could be just a little bit stronger on the nutty flavor of it. But as it is, that is a perfect, simple recipe. If you like pecan pie, go check it out. This cannoli that we opened up last week, it's been pretty delicious too. About a half a tank of that gone. And I guess it's time for us to come up with another recipe for us to mix up. But before we do, I wanted to show you. Let's switch back over to Chrome. Time for me to open up ELR. I'll show you guys this recipe I did last night. I made this one public right off the bat. I don't like normally doing that. I like to make sure that it's a decent recipe before I release it. But you know what? It was on a live stream, so why not? And I know that this one looks a little complicated. It's not working again. Just when I think I've got everything all figured out, I'm going to get this thing working regardless. Never fails. Come on now. Anyway, here's a lovely recipe. Like I said, I would have never thought about mixing blue raspberry and all these creams and bubble gum. I used Euro flavor and Nicotine River blue raspberry and bubble gum. Now, granted, I didn't have the plain bubble gum the original recipe called for. So this was the first time that I actually tried the fairy floss. And mixed in with the bubble gum, French vanilla cream, marshmallow, super sweet, sweet cream, vanilla bean ice cream, and vanilla milk froth. And let me tell you, yes, I was on Wendy's show last night, and I can't believe how good this really is. So today I want to mix up a bigger bottle of this because with the creams that are in this, you really need to let this steep for a while for all that stuff, all those creams to come together into a cohesive cream flavor, creamy note. But right off the bat, I couldn't believe how good it was. Normally you don't taste any of the creams and you don't hardly taste any of the custard flavors. Those take a long time to develop. So let's get started. Quit yapping about. Pull out our trusty scale. Grab ourselves a 60 ml bottle this time. And this is the wonderful thing about when you mix up your own stuff. You can adapt it to any size bottle you want to make. So today we're going to make this a 60. Nothing else really needs to change. You can tag your recipe if you so choose. And now we have all of our ingredients all specified out. Give me a second. Fantastic. There's the recipe. Something else that I've been working on is the ability for you guys to type commands into chat. Set up the bot so you guys can literally change scenes. If I forget to show you, like if I start mixing this right away, you guys can actually, as moderators, go in and change the scene for me and become the producers of this show. And for every single one of you that are out there, that when you watch this, you'll get points for the time that you watch these shows. You're going to get points for being active and participating in chat. And I just want to make this fun for everybody so that everybody can participate and become a part of this show. Don't tempt me. Listen, there's a kid out on YouTube, and he's been on Twitch for like 8 years now. Since Twitch got started, he's been there. And he literally has it set up that if you get like 100,000 points built up, you can literally end his show by using your points. And I'm not sure I'd get to that extreme, but it's fun for you guys to be able to get rewarded for your time that you're here. And it's going to be nice for you guys to be able to communicate and chat. And that's the other thing. There's a actual voice mod set up in there. So you can type a command and I will literally hear it in my earphone, my headphone. So for this recipe, we got 2 blue raspberries. We have River Supply and Euro flavor blue raspberries. And we'll start today with the River Supply. It's 1.8. Just a hair over. We have our Euro flavor blue raspberry. That's 0.6. Just a hair over on that. Bubble gum. The trees haven't started to shed. Just feel the summer sun as it warms. 1.8. From flavors, we have ourselves some fairy floss. It's 0.6 of this, 1%. French vanilla from Capella. It's 0.9. A little over. Marshmallow from Purellum. It's also 0.9. super sweet. It's 0.72. Now we have Capella Vanilla Bean Ice Cream. 2.1.
Sometimes we act like a fool, not aware we're troublemakers. Sometimes we try
Boy, am I sloppily mixing today.
not being good.
And vanilla milk froth from Capella.
Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute. Don't get over your head, try to listen instead.
1.5.
Think for a minute, who you wanna be for a minute. Don't get over your head, you're like everyone else, aren't you? You could gain from being a bit nicer, know when to talk and when to shut your mouth. You're so moody, always such a fighter. Try to open up your mind sometimes. You'll be just fine.
Throw some secret sauce in there. 3.73.
Sometimes we yell when we're sad, and sometimes we laugh when we're afraid.
3.3 of PG.
We smile when we're mad, and some lines we wished we'd never said. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute. Don't get over your head, try to listen instead, won't you? Think for a minute, who you wanna be for a minute.
Give it a little stir.
Over your head, you're like everyone else, aren't you?
And then we finalize the recipe with our vegetable glycerin. Now, big recipes like this are usually best saved for exact duplicates of somebody else's that is really good. Because to try and develop a complex recipe like this, unless you've got a lot of experience on your belt knowing how different flavors react with each other, it's probably reserved for wild, carefree experimentation, or like I said, an exact duplicate of somebody else's that they've worked a long time to perfect. Because more times than not, when you get complex recipes like this, simply swapping one ingredient out will completely change something from being really, really, really good to just being, that was all right. And with each flavor ingredient that you add to a recipe, it changes that complexity, and the difficulty of achieving a perfect recipe grows and grows exponentially. So there we go. There's our lovely recipe set up. Grab a little piece of tape and throw that on there. And label it so that we know what this is. There we go. Toss that up there, but let me tell you, this thing is amazing. And the more times throughout the day that I vape this thing, the more I'm flabbergasted by having a cream mixed in with blue raspberry. Then again, thinking back to my younger days, I do remember that there were a couple of different occasions where, like even 7-Eleven used to have, you could buy yourself a milkshake and then put some slushy in it. So I guess it's going along that same line. Not that far out there. It's far out in my comfort zone from what I'm used to vaping, but hey, you know, sometimes you have to go and try something, even if it's not your normal cup of tea, because you never know what you're going to come up with. And you never know how much you might enjoy something that's completely out of your normal wheelhouse. Something we talked about last night on Wendy's show is, as you go along your vape journey, when you first started out, most of the time, you know, you're going to gravitate, or people typically gravitate towards, oh, I just want a tobacco to replace mine. Give me something that tastes exactly like, you know, Marlboro Reds or Marlboro Menthols. And that's impossible. You can't artificially recreate something that normally takes place through combustion. However, as you go along your DIY journeys and stuff, it's very easy to come up with a simple grape juice or a simple peach tea. And those can be fantastic flavor experiences for you. And then you can change that and make it raspberry tea. It's very easy to change out one flavor profile and come up with something. But to come up with something that's truly fantastic, you may need to play with that recipe over the course of a year to get something that is truly fantastic. So let's hop over to chat. You guys don't seem to be talking a lot today. I was thoroughly impressed with this recipe last night. I would never have expected something so complex thrown together with over half of the ingredients that I put in there are completely different than the original recipe. But it still came out really good. So much so that I literally made another one today. Daryl Robbie Shoe, welcome to the show. Hello. Glad you're stopping by for your lunch break. I wasn't hoping for much. I wasn't expecting much when I came and developed this recipe last night. Didn't actually necessarily develop it. I took somebody else's recipe and just swapped flavor profiles for the ingredients that I happen to have. This one actually came out pretty good. Homer Simpson says, I'm resealing my bats purple because you have me in the idea. Interesting. My opinion, 1929. Hello and welcome. Hi from UK, I'm guessing. Maybe. US. Replay crew. There's nothing wrong with hashtag replay crew. Homer Simpson's rewrapping your batteries. It's really that simple. Everybody needs to rewrap your batteries. And if you're still unsure of it, even after seeing how simple it is, stop by your local vape shop. They'll rewrap your batteries for you. These guys are in business to help you stay away from cigarettes. So, I guess it's time for us to move on to our retro build. I'm going to show you guys how simple it is to wrap a set of coils. It's really not as complicated and as scary as people sometimes make it out to be. I'm going to be using BP Mod's wire for this. This is a simple Clapton wire. It's Canthal A1 26 gauge times 2 wrapped with 40 gauge. You got a 3 meter section like this. It's roughly 10 feet. It's going to last a long time. And wrapping coils for our loop RDA. So before we determine what size inner diameter we want to go with this and assume that, you know, a 3 millimeter is going to fit fine, let's get this thing opened up and take a look at the loop and find out, is a 3 millimeter coil going to work? Or should we go with something a little bit smaller? Now, just simply looking at this, that doesn't tell you a whole lot of information. The best thing to do is to get a set of coils, even though they may be a little too complex for this, and just take a look and see how it fits in there. Now, looking at that, that should fit just fine. So we're going to make our coils to fit there. Now, this loop is a little unorthodox because the set screws are in the side. That means when we make these coils, we need to pre-bend the ends so that that Clapton wrap on 2 wires doesn't get twisted when we tighten these clamps down. You can tell that one's not open enough. There we go. Do the same on this one. And maybe another half turn on this one. There we go. You see how simple a wrap is. You go and you grab this. Put this off to the side. It always helps to be organized when you go and you do this. Now this section of the wire, as you can tell, has got a little bit of a bend in it. That's the advantage of having non-marring pliers, so that you can literally flatten this out. Not perfect, but it's a lot better than what we started out with. And I don't even have our wrapping tool that I normally use. So we're going to have to do this one manually. But you just drop it inside here and literally start twisting this.
Through my brain, oh, loose in the china shop, it goes non-stop. I don't wanna fight no.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wraps. Grab your wire snips. Snip that off. Go do another. Now you see how this is starting to deform there? You can literally apply your tension to the wire, go back, start where you deformed, and this time wrap it a little tighter. It's a matter of balancing the tension that you have, holding the spool in your hand, and the tension of pulling this away from there. And if it's a little space like this, then you just pull the angle back. One, two, three, four, five. There we go. So I'll take this and find a nice place for us to stop so that spool doesn't uncoil. We'll snip that off, tuck this in, and toss it back into our little package. Simple 5 wrap. Now let's take a look and see how deep these wells are for that wire. That's all it is there. And you can use your measuring tool to determine how deep you need to cut this. Trying to figure out a nice angle for you to see it on camera. Looks like about 5. So we're going to cut it at 5.5, and then we can obviously trim more off if we need to. If you want to be OCD, you can literally put in a little extra wrap in there. Pre-bend your leads. There we go. If you've never done this before, there's nothing wrong with using straight round wire for this. As you can see, there's a nice twist on that one already. And we're actually going to keep that in there to prep this. But it means that we need to twist the other end. And then this one we're going to pull back. I really admire coil builders, man. I don't know how they can meticulously get these things so flawless sometimes. This thing looks all boogered up right here. Takes a lot of patience to do this kind of stuff. Well, it's not going to be perfect, but it is what it is. Got our side twist on it. We can always reposition that in there, but drop it in the coiling tool. And realistically, I guess you're supposed to put this in from the bottom side. That one's trimmed. We're just going to do the same thing on the other one, even though the ends are not prepped. I'm going to grab and twist it. Grab this one and twist it. And then give ourselves a little snip as I drop the wire cutters onto the ground. And my apologies for the fingernails for those of you out there that think this is disgusting. But there we go. Let's bring our device in here and check our spacing on this. Pull that spacing out a little bit more. Maybe bend this out of here. That doesn't look so bad now. Lovely. Kind of hard to do if my nails are any shorter. Trying to get these equally spaced out. There we go. Got one side in. This is one of the advantages of hex head screws. You can get them in a lot easier than these straights. What do you think, folks? Nobody said I had the message still up on screen. Just like that. Let's grab some cotton and throw it in here. I'm going to try this shoelace cotton I got here. They're true 3mm. It should slide right in. Since we wrapped them ourselves. And actually, that's just a little loose. See how there's hardly any movement of the coils except for the very end of this. See if I can move up to a different size. Try the white ones. One more size left. Are these aglets going to fit through there? See how that's moving the coil just a hair all the way through it? That's the kind of tension we're looking for. Tension on this one's a lot better. A lot tighter. Check and see the lead length. I'm going to pull them through and just adjust it this way. This one actually needs thinned out. Yep. Thank you. That would make sense. Plus, I would know exactly what ohms they are. Very much appreciated, sir. So we got 0.18 ohms. Beautiful. Thank you, Kenny. I'm so glad that you pointed that out to me. Yes, it is a total nightmare trying to build live because you're trying to look at the camera, look at the screen, look it down here, and trying to hold it in position underneath your camera. It's definitely challenging. All right. Toss the cotton off to the side. All righty. That looks fantastic. Fluff these ends out a little bit.
Wishing for the kind of love you see in magazines. The illusion falls and nothing's what it seems to be. The part left is hurting deep inside of me. Heard a whisper, someone saw you at the bar. Was it the same night you had trouble with your car? It's getting old, I've heard your stories told 1,000 times. Baby, you are using the same old lines. I'll leave it all behind. I wasted too much time, I've been blind. 'Cause there's no fixing what's been broken. This ain't the first time I'll be drinking you off my mind. Walking down the street, the rain is pouring down. But my feet are walking to a different sound. I'll leave the bitter taste of love, come back and find
Wonderful.
the mirror. I can see a different me. I'll leave it all behind.
Clean up my mess.
Too much time I've been blind. 'Cause there's no
And I guess it's time for us to do a random recipe
this ain't the
to put on this lovely dripper.
love is gone, and there's no road leading us back.
Go to my flavor stash.
This
Let's find out what we can make today.
but it's the last time. At the bottom of the barrel, there's no love to be found. This ain't the first time I'll be drinking you off my mind.
Hot diggity. What should we make today?
I'll leave it all behind.
Limey mango.
I wasted too much
That one's already got a review on it.
'cause there's no fixing what's been broken. This ain't the first
What's ripe dragon queen? Cotton candy, dragon fruit, strawberry ripe, and sweet cream. That seems pretty interesting. Well, let's just adapt that one. 30 mils of that. Let me check, make sure everything else looks good. We'll move our RDA off to the side. Pull out the old scale and see if we can find these recipe ingredients. TPA, cotton candy.
on a thin piece of paper. Would it make any difference? Would it change for the better if I wrote you a poem? If I posted a letter?
On the dragon fruit. Strawberry ripe. Cotton candy.
Maybe because
Sweet cream.
I never knew quite where I was. Then suddenly you told me, baby, you're lost. But I am too. Whatever the cost, we'll make it through. Tell me you're the one for me now. 'Cause what am I supposed to do? If you are not the one for me, then tell me now what I could do.
It was right in front of my face the whole time. Fantastic.
If I told you that I
So we'll start with the cotton candy that's supposed to be 0.32.
don't know what to say, but I go without the only one for you.
And then lastly, we have some strawberry ripe that's going to be 1.2. Now, strawberry is definitely a flavor that some of you out there just aren't going to be able to taste. And some of you are going to have an aversion to strawberries for whatever reason. And there's different kinds of strawberries out there. And just because something has strawberry in its name doesn't mean that you won't be able to taste it or that you're going to hate it. Everybody's formulations is a little bit different. And you may hate strawberry ripe from TFA, but love strawberry ripe from Capella, and vice versa. It's all a matter of experimentation. So, 1.2.
If I could hear my father's voice, he would tell me to move on. He would say I'll be just fine. Yeah, he would tell me we have time to laugh and time to heal.
Here we go. Very simple recipe.
Song is on repeat.
4 ingredients.
Drinking wine until
4 flavor ingredients, I should say.
knowing soon we'll be back home. Ooh,
Secret sauce is 1.86.
I'm thinking about you. I'm wishing that you knew.
It's a little more than we wanted.
I'm thinking about you.
And PG is only 0.94.
Smile on your face. You told me about the hidden place. Something in the atmosphere. You're always here, you always here. Time to laugh and time to heal.
Give that a little stir.
It's on repeat.
Turn that off.
Drinking wine until the dawn. Knowing soon we'll be back home.
Then top it off with our vegetable glycerin. It's 26.5 milliliters.
About you.
But from previous experience, I know that this will take it and fill it right to the edge of the bottom of the cap rim. So I didn't measure it. Throw our cap on there, throw it in a little shaker. And now we're off and running. Awesome sauce. Moved everything off to the side. Now my desk is once again a cluster. The ratio for that one It's a 70-30 mix. Never fails. We'll have to rewrite the code for that zoom and follow. Doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to. But this is going to be interesting flavor profile. Cotton candy, dragon fruit at 10% is the primary ingredient. And in addition to that, we're looking at strawberry ripe at 4%, sweet cream at 6%. Total flavoring ingredients for this is 21%. Seems pretty high. But I'll try anything once. Twice if I like it. Now I just got to find this dripper that we just got done building. In the recording process, this is where I would say cut. Then I go find it. But when you're doing this live, well, you kind of have to fuddle your way through it. So let's take a look. Zoom out. That was a black top. My apologies, folks. I am one day going to get this thing organized enough that I don't misplace things midstream. We literally just got done building that to give it a try. There we go. Blame it on the Alzheimer's. But there's our lovely thing. Need a mod to put this on. Here's something else I wanted to point out for you guys. This Chillin 2, for whatever reason, you get this condensation build up around the bottom of this tank. It's not actually leaking. The Vape's great, but the top of this mod is just utterly disgusting. And I keep wiping it off 3 or 4 times a day. But for some reason, this tank is spitting this liquid out here. So we're going to swap it out. Throw this dripper on here after we clean it off nice. This indexed at all?
Sweet is my location, sweet as well my destination. If you're looking to begin, then look no further than within.
There's no stops on this loop.
Satisfied with what I've got and still eager for more. The change that you've been looking for will come knock on your door. On and on.
There we go. All right, let's give this thing a little shot and try it out. There's no real off notes to it. Dragon fruit is pretty potent. Not getting really any of the cream. It's kind of muddled because I can't really identify. Yeah, I do get a little bit of the strawberry ripe, but it's got this funk to it. Strawberry ripe by itself as an individual flavor is like macerated strawberries. When you pair that up with cotton candy, which is basically ethyl maltol, it's a sweet strawberry glaze like you would put onto a cheesecake.
I'm looking out from my window. Sun's coming up like the day before.
This isn't a very sweet recipe. And that cotton candy's in there at 1%.
You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV
This may be one of those situations where I think less is more. I think we need to cut back the flavoring ingredients in here. The dragon fruit at 10% is a little bit, I mean, we're looking at 21% total flavoring profile for this recipe. That does seem to be quite high because these flavors, I mean, yeah, the strawberry ripe at 4%, that should be just fine in the way it is in its context. But that dragon fruit at 10% is just too much in my opinion. The sweet cream at 6%, well, I can't judge that accurately for at least 24 hours. And in a week, I'll definitely know if the sweet cream is going to balance this out and allow this to be a recipe where you can identify the strawberry and the dragon fruit and have some spacing between those two mixed in with cream. The cotton candy aspect of it is literally just the sweetener that they chose to use for this. And you could substitute that out for TFA sweetener, which is a combination of ethyl maltol and another sweetener, or we could go with super sweet as the sweetener as an alternative to the cotton candy. Typically when you put too much ethyl maltol, when you put too much ethyl maltol in a recipe, you can actually mute the flavors that you already have in that recipe. But at 1%, it shouldn't be doing that yet. Especially considering there are no other sweeteners in this. It's not a bad recipe, but it's just lackluster. It's kind of flat. So I'll throw some tape on it, put it on the shelf, and have to evaluate this later. However, those coils inside of this Geek Vape loop are doing really, really good. Let me cut the airflow back. Let's eliminate the possibility that there's just too much airflow in this dripper. It brings the strawberry a little bit more into the flavor profile, but it's still kind of a flat recipe. There's no wow factor to it. About the easiest way I could sum it up. Try a different pen. Ripe dragon cream. Pop that on the shelf. Not enjoying it. That one's coming off the mod. Getting paired up with the bottle. Wait for another day, because that's just not what I was hoping for. So let's pick one more recipe. Try and find something that we can enjoy. Maybe something I can take with my wife when we go away for our little camping trip this coming weekend. Not the whole weekend, but for the next couple days. Nothing like some fresh coffee to cleanse the palate. All right, let's go to our flavor list. Flavor stash, my apologies. Click on what I can make, have it bring up the list. Maybe one for the steep shelf. Yeah, Kenny, I do believe you're right. That one's definitely going to have to steep. I'm looking forward to trying the Prince. I was talking about that last night on the live stream with Wendy. That's been sitting there for quite some time now, and I'm sure that it's pretty close to being ready. But I want my first experience of that to be completely mature and ready, because if I like it, it's going to become my all-day vape. At least until the bottle's gone. All right, let's jump a couple pages down. See what we can come up with. This Myogi's Pine Orange Popsicle has been wonderful. I plowed through that 60 ml bottle we made, and last night after we got done live streaming, I made another 60 mils of it because I truly enjoy it. Just like I enjoy Miyagi's Cappuccino. Another delicious recipe. There's some people out there, when you start following, different mixers out there, you'll take a look and you'll realize that some people will release every single recipe they make. And some people keep their recipes private until Mark Toe. Hello and welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. And some people will hold on to their recipes until they perfect it and only release the recipes that they think other people should try. There's no consistent basis to it. And that's the reason why we have this show, so that I can literally start working through some of these recipes and try and find the good ones and try and identify the bad ones, so that you guys, when you're brand new to mixing or trying to figure out what to make, you at least have some basis of reference to go, well, this one doesn't look like it's got a lot of good reviews, so let's stick with the 5-star recipes when we're first getting started, and know that when we put the effort and put the time and the resources into creating this recipe, that it's going to be a good recipe worthy of us mixing it and trying it. So what are we going to make? What do you guys think? Do you see anything that interests you? Icy Grape and Pineapple. Very simple recipe. Capella double apple at 3.5. Grape juice TFA at 5. And Culotta at 1%. That looks like a very good recipe, and somebody's already rated that as a 5-star. So as much as I would be interested in that, I'm not going to mix that today because of the fact that I want a recipe that I can review. Coffee cream chocolate. That's another 5-star recipe. What else are we going to do? What do we got? Anything interest you guys out there? What's this? JFM. What is Drunken Sailor? Well, let me find Drunken Sailor. Must be a significant delay in this stream because it's not on this page. So let me go back. Run through the list. There is one more setting on YouTube that I can pick. It's supposed to eliminate this delay that we have going on. There it is. All right, Kenny, I found it. Here we're looking at ethyl maltol as a sweetener at 1%. Capella lime is at 6%. And pear is at 1%. Well, all right, you limeys. I think we're going to try this shake and vape. Let me grab these ingredients. Got our Capella lime, PFA pear. Three ingredients. And let's get this thing mixed up. Oh my goodness. I almost did it again. I didn't set this to be a recipe for us to adapt. We're making 30 mils. 70-30 ratio. Everything else stays the same. Save. And now we have the correct volumes for our recipe. I'm going to get this thing working one way or the other. I updated everything in OBS to version 28 thinking that this is going to solve all these little problems I got going on. But it just doesn't do it. Finally, we have our set there. Cotton candy's 0.32. Our lime is going to be 1.8. B.A. Christian, hello and welcome to the stream. Wendy said that if... Can't pull it up. Closed it out. All right, 1.8. They only have one review. It was from the creator. That is not necessarily true, but it can be true. And then our pair is 0.31. Thank you. I appreciate you stopping by. Trying to build a community of vapors out there.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, had to reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep.
Now I need to change the overlay. More dangle crack. More dangle clacks.
Sitting in my pocket, in plain sight, all alone.
Never a dull moment when you're trying to stream and things just do not want to line up.
Got lost along the way, fell between the foam.
There's another streaming software out there now called Prism. It looks like the same layout, etc., of OBS, but a bit more simplified. YouTube alerts is not working. Maybe a bit more simplified, but I'm not sure that that's the solution. It is something that I can look into and see if it's a worthy venture. But I've invested so much time and effort into OBS and getting all these scenes set up and everything else. And then the bot that I have set up is supposed to be interacting with it so that, you know, I can do fancy things like, you know, throw fireworks up on stream. Special effects like that are added into OBS and then controlled by the bot that I have that I've been working on. Just like that printer thing right now. I'm literally writing custom C# scripts to be able to control stuff. And, you know, if I get a super chat, it's supposed to print out a receipt onto a printer and it's uploading everything into a Discord server that I'm working on building for this channel and for this community of vapors out there. So we'll see after the live stream if things are working the way that the software is set up to do, because it literally only takes one variable to be typed wrong. Even capitalization matters. However, once everything is completed and completely set up and done, it'll be there for the rest of my time on YouTube. And I'll also be able to use that when I'm on Twitch. They've been expanding the software for this bot, and I'm going to eventually be able to set it up where I can literally stream on both platforms at the same time, so long as Twitch allows that kind of thing. And it'll literally be able to respond to chat from both places. Both chats are going to be able to be put onto the stream, onto the screen. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the background, plugins and effects and widgets. So I've learned all that stuff and I figured it all out. However, when they upgraded from version 27, when everything worked, to version 28, the plugins have been updated to be compatible with it, but they haven't worked the bugs out yet. So there's bound to be bugs in the code. Once they get those all ironed out, everything's going to be back to working 100%, and it'll be good for next couple years until they come out with the next version of it. All right, so PG, we're looking at 4.98. Yeah, the problem I'm having right now is the fact that the Chrome window that I had the chat on that enabled it to pop up on screen, when I clicked to close out the error warning because of the mouse zoom in not working properly. Ian Thomas, hello and welcome. Now when I open it, there's no properties listed for it. That's not an issue that I can fix. That's a problem with OBS itself. All right, so where are we at? 4.98. I'm literally at the point now where I may just do a stream on the weekend on a Saturday or a Sunday, and the stream isn't going to be so much about, you know, doing DIY mix or nothing. It may just be a test stream for me to be able to work out all these bugs and literally type in and work on the actual code that's going to be on the background. I'd show you guys this stuff, but that requires a whole screen capture I haven't set up yet. The point being, once it's all working, it's going to be fantastic. I've got so many things I've already built. Birthday shout outs. You guys can literally type into chat, you know, BD shout out and then the person's username. And it's automatically going to pre-fill all that information into these scenes that I've built. Went over on that. And it's going to automatically go on screen. So you guys are literally going to be able to control the stream elements that are going to be taking place when we go live. And it's something that I'm literally going to set up as, you know, only the moderators can do. There's going to be games that everybody can do, and it's going to be based upon points, so that the more that you watch the stream, the more you accumulate points. And you can type in, you know, commands into chat to check how many points you have. And we'll be doing special things where, you know, like if you participated in something, we'll do polls. If you pick the poll and get the right answer, you get an extra 100 points or 500 points or whatever. It's all possible once we get the software ironed out. Like I said, all these developers have been working in Twitch to get all these features. And there's people over on Twitch that do this stuff, and it works flawlessly. And I could do the same thing, but here's where the audience is that I have right now. So here's where I need to develop the software and convert it from Twitch compatible to YouTube compatible. Actually registered with the Google developers and been working on the code. It's trial and error. More of the background stuff you guys don't even think about. Just like when you're producing these live shows. So anyway, what are you guys up to? You can do a test stream and set it to private, not public. Yeah, I've done that before. I have done that before. There's still people that pop into the live stream. Just because it's not public doesn't mean you don't get people show up. How they come and find the actual URL for the live stream that's private, I don't know. Once I set up memberships, it'd be even easier for me to do that because I can set it up as a membership stream. And if I have no members, then it's literally a private stream. And YouTube will limit it to nobody because there's no members. Didn't work. Mark Toe, hello and welcome. Glad you came to the stream. 4:50 a.m. Aussie time. Thank you for stopping by. Yes, the Arbiter 28 is my all-day vape. Still, I still say it is the best RTA ever. The Arbiter 2, a little bit better flavor, but decreased airflow. And for me, not my cup of tea. My wife, on the other hand, prefers the Arbiter 2 over the original. Such a beautiful vape. Exactly the right amount of restriction that I need and I enjoy. And the flavor is always perfect. And these coils last forever in there. You'd be surprised how gunky they look when I go to pull them out of here sometimes. And I was still getting decent flavor out of it. I could tell that it needed changed. But it's just that whole airflow design of shooting majority of the air towards the center of the coil. That's what makes this such a fantastic rebuildable tank. All righty. So now we need a device to put this on. And I cleaned out a bunch of drippers. So let's flip overhead. We'll throw some cotton into this one. Here we have our little setup that we did a while back. Too small. Where's the white one? See what I mean about the side of that is flattened out? I'm gonna try once to fix it, and if I can't fix it, then I'm gonna have to use some plain Jane cotton. Shoelace cotton is great, except when the aglets aren't perfect. People want to know what's the difference between, buying generic agliated cotton on Amazon and buying the good stuff. Well, now you have the answer. Even the stuff that comes with our tanks is way better because they make sure that these aglets are actually small enough to fit through here. Or you can just grab a tuft of cotton and do it yourself. There's some Coil Master Pro Cotton, literally just cotton balls. They're rolled up into a sheet like this. Just grab a tuft of the end. Roll it around your fingers and make your own. Just like that. I've gone global. Actually, the first couple shows I did, there was a bunch of the Aussie boys out there. Brony Saint. And when we had Flavor show up to the live streams, my memory is just not as good as it used to be. Too much cotton. Let's be a 2.8 millimeter. Try it again. The joys of trying to do this live. There's no way to cut it out or fast forward things. You just kind of have to putz through it like you would do on a Saturday morning when you're out there rewicking your own stuff. Some nice tension in there. The dripper, so we don't have to get fancy with it, as I knock stuff over. A little too thick. I have to pull out the Muji pads. This gets any more complicated. Yeah, I have some of that. Right there. 5 bags of it. It is pretty good stuff. Should probably add it to my little desk collection. Use that next time. Not quite enough cotton. See if we can marry these two together. That's about tension I was looking for. Knocking stuff over. Put this back in the bag. This is relatively undisturbed. Tuck and roll. That's too long. It's not perfect, but it's going to be good enough for what we're doing today. Lovely. Find our color matched cap. Slap that on there. Wipe off our excess. Give this thing a try. Well, that's interesting. Definitely got a good lime flavor to it. The cap is not indexed properly. $50. Let's pump that up. 0.16. Try like 68, 70. It's a little too high and the airflow is still too much. So I gotta turn the top of this. Close that down about halfway. Try 65. Need some rum. You're probably right. Could probably throw this in a mojito. There's another recipe with 1% ethyl maltol. Just not sweet enough. Then again, that just might be me because me vaping cotton candy, blue raspberry cotton candy all this time. I mean, I've vaped my fair share of ethyl maltol. Drinking diet sodas. There's plenty of that and all that stuff too. It's okay. Nothing super wow. It's a limey vape. Ah, you limeys. Limey's not for me. It's not a bad vape. I had to rate this on the scale right now as a shake and vape, 3.5, maybe. Just average. There's nothing wow about it. And that pear at 1% isn't enough to give you any real mouthfeel either. I'd bump that pear up to at least 4%. A little bit of super sweet might do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a drop in the actual dripper. That was actually more than a drop. Going to re-drip it. Wow. Now, granted, I put a couple drops in there, which is going to kill these coils, but that is definitely a nice, sweet lime vape. According to your watt calculator, wish I could put it up on screen, I'm sorry. According to your watt calculator, 0.16, 81 watts is cool, 95.6 is vapor, and 112 is warm. Well, I'll crank it up on this little thing, but this is only, goes to 80 watts. So let's take it up to 80 watts, which is the max for this mod. I'll try it once. And then I'll put it on the Dovebow Odin, run those coils through, and we'll see. Man, that super sweet I put in there is fantastic. This is pretty unique. The indexing rings that they have on here lets you close one side of it with the indexing ring, and then the other side you control with the top cap. That's super sweet. It's fantastic. Go up to 80. starting to burn the cotton at 80. 0.16? Mm-mm. Ugh, it's caramelized now. Drop it back down to 65. See if this is still salvageable. Or am I going to need to pull this cotton out and clean it out, rewick it again? It's toasted now. So that's it for that one. Need a big boy. Yeah. Pull out the Vapors Cloud Mangala. Throw it on there. I could crank that at 110 watts. No problem. But this one now. And that recipe does need some super sweet. That one's a beautiful flavor. So there was one thing that I wanted to do because the thumbnail for today's episode had Einstein on it. So I pulled up and made this little thing here. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. He is considered successful in our day who gets more out of life than he puts in it. But a man of value will give more than he receives. And that's my goal on this channel, to give you guys the value and the knowledge and the power and the education to be able to go and start dabbling into DIY yourself. Start off with a one-shot flavor profile. Just like this custard. Whatever flavor floats your boat, that's what you need to go find. Go find a one-shot of that flavor. There are plenty of them out there. You like bubble gum? Here's a beautiful bubble gum. Okay? And it tastes just like Wrigley spearmint gum. If that's what you like, go get yourself a one-shot and get into the DIY thing. It's not that scary. You get something like this as a one-shot, it will tell you when you get this one-shot what the starting percentage is. 15% or 10%. Like I did with Liquid Barn's Blue Raspberry. 8%. Put 8% into a container, add the VG, add the PG, add the secret sauce, and you're up and running. And join the DIY community. It's really that simple. Kenny, no, it's not necessarily that it's a bad vaping calculator. It's the fact that every tank is different and allows a different amount of airflow past those coils. And that makes such a difference in these devices. I've got some tanks that I have, like my Arbiter. I run that at 65 watts. It usually ohms out at 0.15, 0.17, thereabouts. And 65 watts is the perfect for me. A little bit on the cooler side. You could bump it up to 70 and get a warmer vape out of it. No issues whatsoever. But you could also cut it back a little bit and go to 60. But that seems to be about the range for that Arbiter with the way that I draw air in. Wendy even talked about that last night on her live stream, that she's one of those people that sucks hard and puts out voluminous plumes of air. And I can relate to that because that's the kind of vapor I am on my inhales. And then you have people like Steve from Legion Vapes. When you go and you have coffee with Legion Vapes, watch how he vapes. It's always a slow, long, drawn-out drag. My wife is kind of the same way in that aspect. Oh, that flavor is horrible. Where's my other tank? Oh. Need to clean my mouth out. Nothing like getting a dry hit. That wasn't a dry hit. But that coil and that cotton's toast. My point being, watch how Steve takes an inhale. It's slow and drawn out. Lot less airflow past that coil. You can't run the same tank at the same wattage, and you have completely different airflow. Completely different vape experience. And this is that DIY liquid from last night. I had to replace the coil because the first one I got was shorted. But wow, what an amazing flavor profile. And that's something that is hard to explain to new vapors. Just because somebody else is vaping the exact same mod and the exact same tank and the exact same setup that you have, and they run it at 75 watts, doesn't mean 75 watts is the ideal place for you to be able to run your tank. You need to find what works best for you. What gives you the best flavor? How do you naturally breathe in? All these factors come into play on setting your wattage. And it might be, I think Phil even talked about this one time before. Phil Basardo talked about how the vaping community kind of got into it wrong. They went strictly analytical and they said, okay, 65 watts, because that's what Ohm's law says that coil and that battery voltage should come out at. And maybe the vaping community should have started out by just giving people simpler menus and simpler layouts. And they should give you ranges, like very low, medium, high, just categories, and let you adjust it within the full range of the vaping wattage that we have now. But instead of forcing brand new vapors to learn what wattage, what coil, what airflow works for them, maybe it'd been simpler if they would have just done the low, medium, and high. I don't know. All I know is now I know exactly what wattage I typically start things out at and what I enjoy typically. And I'll bump it up to see the upper extreme, and I'll bump it down to find the lower extreme on a brand new setup and a brand new tank. But then you get something like this Arbiter. I can control how much airflow I pull through this, and I can chain vape this thing at 100 watts and not sweat a bullet at it. Might get a buzz off of it from, cranking through that and plowing through that much juice. But it's a possibility when you can control how much airflow you pull through it and match it to the wattage you set on your mod. But let's say I was working on my truck and been working for like an hour and a half or whatever and decided to take a break. I would naturally come up to this thing and I would draw the heck out of it. Just to get a nice, relaxing vape experience for myself. I know that 65 watts will do that for this tank and the way I vape. Might be different for you. If you draw slower and less, you could do a little bit less wattage or a little bit more wattage. It's all about finding your ideal. And hoping that it isn't time to change the battery. Well, folks, we've been going at this thing now for 2.5 hours. It's time to wrap this thing up, clean up my mess, clean up my desk, and go pack the suitcase for the anniversary. It's my 4-year wedding anniversary tomorrow. Wife and I are going to camp, getting away for a couple days. But when I come back, starting this weekend, when I'm back, I'm going to start hitting it hard. You're going to be seeing a bunch of these videos getting put out. I got to get caught up on the news. I've been doing the research on it, adding it to the Word document. So there is going to be news coming out. I'm also going to publish the video for the Blotto. I debated on this for the longest time, whether or not to do this, but got myself another Blotto, and the air holes on this one are perfectly fine. I asked Kenny to check his. He says his airflow is perfectly fine. So I'm not going to put out a Jay Hayes video and just bash the heck out of it and smash it and slam it into the wall or who knows what, or drive it over with the fire truck. I'm going to do an honest review on it based upon what I found. I'm not going to hide the fact that the air holes are messed up on one and work perfect on the other. But the whole purpose of being a reviewer out there, whether you do it as a hobby or whether you do it, as your job, is to give people an honest review of what you find when you do these product evaluations. So I'm going to put the video out there. It is what it is. And that's also brought into a certain dilemma that I've been debating since I got onto YouTube. And I've held back dozens of videos because although the product worked, it wasn't easy. It wasn't something like it should have been. Perfect example is the Vupu musket. I talked about that on one of my subscriber video vlogs. It is, in my opinion, a piece of crap I wouldn't pay $15 for if I had to do it over. But I didn't want to bash it because technically it works. If you do exactly what you're supposed to do to get into the menu, you can get into the menu. You can adjust things up and down. But that menu is so complicated to get into and so hard to get an accurate wattage adjustment even. The average person out there shouldn't be subjected to trying to deal with some kind of crap like that when you've got something so simple as this, or something as simple as this. The facts are what they are, and I'm putting it out there. Because quite honestly, I don't know how easy it's going to be for us in 6 months to be able to buy this kind of stuff. And what with the massive changes in China and all the reduction in the capacity in the production chain, what kind of devices are they going to be putting out for us at Christmas time? Next year? Next summer? I really don't know. I really don't understand. Thank you, Mark Toe. Greatly appreciate it. We're definitely going to enjoy our anniversary. We've been looking forward to getting away. We've been cranking at everything so hard lately the last month or two. I've been trying to get this OBS stuff worked out, the Stream Deck stuff. I don't know if you noticed. I literally went and changed all the icons out for this so that I can literally, at the touch of a button, change things around and switch things up and switch back and forth. And it literally tells me when it's live, and when I'm not live, it shows you, you know, that this is live or this is live, whatever button it is. And I've got it set up so that, you know, when I do recording, I've got a completely different screen to make it optimized so that I can literally just crank through these videos and put them out without having to really sweat too much about it. It's all about optimization of your workflow. And I'm really looking forward to being able to get these reviews out on a more often basis. I'm also looking to do another live stream at a different day and time, so I can also cover the stream in a convenient time for those people living in Australia. If that means I'm going to have to get up one day a week at 6 a.m. so that they can see it in their nighttime, their evening, that's what I'm going to do. But I don't want to step on anybody else's toes. Like last night is Wendy's live stream, and that was one of my first days I did a live stream on a Monday evening and didn't realize I was stepping on her toes. It wasn't my intention, but I want us to all be a community to come together and help each other out, be there for each other. That's more important than, you know, ego or anybody else's. And that's the whole reason why I brought up this whole thing about Einstein and his saying that he had in Life magazine. Teach each other how to do this, and we'll never have to smoke again. And we can literally eliminate combustion, cigarette combustion, for future generations. All it takes is a little bit of knowledge. Knowledge is power. And once you learn something, nobody can ever take that away from you. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to truly thank every single one of you guys for coming out to this live stream. Apologize for all the dangle clacks. I obviously still have a lot more work to do to get this ironed out. Some things are working flawlessly, other things not so much. But I am going to use my life experiences and all the training and education that I got. And if I have to write custom code to do this stuff, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be out there, and I'm going to release it to the public so they can all do it. And they can all use it. It's what's happened on Twitch, and there's so many people that now have access to be able to do this kind of stuff. And I'm going to do the same thing for YouTube. I'm going to put this information out there, release these plugins that need to be converted, release this code so they can put it into StreamerBot and get things working the way that they need to. Ian Thomas, I was on Wendy's show last night. Addie Tooney sent me the invitation. Greatly appreciate that. I don't want to, be a rude guest and just show up at somebody's house without being invited. So if they'd like me back, I'd be happy to come back. They just have to, have Addie send me an invitation, or Wendy can get a hold of me or whatever. I'm in her Facebook group. Whatever they want. I'm here for the community. Damn battery. Time to change the battery. There's one thing I don't care for in this mod. Twist it off. Dusty Country Road, you're back. Naturally. Well, I do have an 18650 battery here. Or 21700, my apologies. There we go. Now we got to twist it back on. It's nice because this is a secure connection. But geez almighty. Having to do that every time the battery's dead is just, I don't know. Then you got this Dovetail Odin. Likes to open up on its own and drop the batteries out. It was fantastic when the thing shorted out on top. Had it in my camera bag and it was getting hot and the batteries were going to get rid of thermal runaway. It was nice to have that pop open, but you could have done a better job snapping that back in. Got to hold people and manufacturers accountable when they come up with these designs. It's getting harder and harder to find something wrong with a lot of these things that are out there, especially now that I pulled up this old stuff. But it's for another day. Meant to wrap this show up. So once again, thank you. My wish is always going to be peace, love, and a hunky vape to end cigarette combustion. Thank you. Hope you all have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend ahead. I'll catch you same time next week.